Imagine finding out Marge might not be as perfect as she seems. It feels a bit strange, like hearing your mom once broke the rules and never told anyone. It makes you wonder if there's more to her story than just being a loyal wife. Could those almost cheating moments reveal something deeper about her marriage, her choices, or who she really is? Let's explain Marge's near-infidelity in detail and what it truly says about her life. When people think of Marge Simpson, they often picture a caring wife and mom, standing tall with her big blue hair and a voice that can be soft or strict, depending on the situation. She's the one who keeps the Simpsons family together, especially when Homer is being careless or wild. Without her, things would fall apart, but if you look a little closer at her character, you'll notice that she's not always perfectly loyal. Marge, who is usually patient and calm, has had several moments where she almost cheats on Homer, not always in a physical way, but emotionally or romantically. These aren't just silly jokes. They show us more about who Marge really is, how her relationship with Homer works, and what marriage looks like in a town like Springfield. It's easy to laugh off these moments as just another joke, like when Homer strangles Bart or when Moe talks about closing his bar. But Marge's close calls with other men feel more serious. That's because they remind us that she's not just Homer's nagging wife. She's a person who sometimes wonders what her life could have been like if she had made different choices. Sometimes she meets someone new who shows interest in her. Other times, an old crush comes back into her life. Whatever the case, the fact that she even considers these people shows that her loyalty isn't as simple as it seems. That actually makes her character deeper and more real. Take Jacques, for example, the bowling teacher with a smooth voice and a French accent. He didn't hide the fact that he liked Marge. He didn't see her as just a tired mom. He saw her as someone special. And Marge didn't completely push him away. She blushed, kept going to lessons she didn't really need, and clearly enjoyed the attention. When she almost went to his apartment for brunch, yes, brunch, which somehow always sounds more romantic than dinner, you could feel how torn she was. It wasn't just her marriage that felt shaky. She herself was unsure of who she was. She turned the car around in the end, but that doesn't erase the fact that she almost went. The writers were showing something real. They weren't just going for cheap drama. They were showing that even Marge, the strong and steady one, feels tempted sometimes, and that even she isn't always fully locked into her role as the loyal wife Homer thinks she'll always be. These moments make more sense when you remember who Marge is married to. Homer is lovable, but let's be honest, he cares more about donuts, beer, and his silly ideas than he does about showing Marge love and support. For years, Marge has been the one keeping the house clean, raising the kids, and even taking care of Homer like he's another child. So when someone like Jacques or even a less charming man gives her attention, it's not just about cheating, it's about feeling noticed. For once, Marge isn't just the background mom or the one always fixing problems. She becomes important to someone else, and that feeling matters. That's why her almost cheating is usually not about kissing or sneaking around. It's about wanting to feel valued and seen, something she doesn't always get at home. This becomes even more clear in later seasons of the show when Marge has little sparks with neighbors, dance partners, or new people who show up in one episode. Sometimes it starts when she takes a class or meets someone by chance. But the pattern is always the same. Marge wonders what life would be like with someone else. She never crosses the line, but she lets herself think about it. And that alone tells us a lot. It shows that even though she stays with Homer, she still has questions and feelings about her own life and choices. Strangely, the funny parts of the show make these moments even more serious. The show often makes Homer look like a fool, and we laugh at it. But when Marge gets close to cheating, the jokes feel more grown up, as if the writers are quietly saying, everyone wonders about a different life sometimes, even Marge. And when she does, it's usually with men who treat her better than Homer does. These small moments might seem funny on the surface, but underneath the jokes, they show real feelings. This isn't about excitement or drama. It's about how long marriages can slowly make someone feel unimportant or lonely. Think about other TV wives from the same time period. Many were either perfect angels or always angry and nagging. Marge is different. She's somewhere in the middle. Her close calls with other men show she's strong but also human. She doesn't always feel happy or sure of her choices. She asks questions even if she doesn't act on them. That makes her feel more real, especially since the show started back in the late 1980s, when most TV wives didn't have this kind of depth. Marge's near affairs also show us something bigger about the whole town of Springfield. It's a town full of strange people and silly problems. But through it all, Marge is usually the one holding things together. So when she starts to slip even just a little, it shows that even Springfield's most stable person has limits. If Marge, the calm one, starts to struggle, then maybe no one in town is truly safe from falling apart. What's interesting is that Marge doesn't usually go out looking for these romantic moments. They just happen. One day she's at the bowling alley and a man like Jacques shows up. Or a kind neighbor starts talking to her more than usual. These things catch her by surprise. She doesn't plan them, but she reacts because she's human. Then she has to choose. Should she stay with Homer and the life she already knows, even with all the problems, or should she take a chance on something different? The real depth shows in the fact that Marge's loyalty to Homer isn't automatic. She chooses him again and again every single day. That doesn't make her weak. It shows strength, a sense of duty, and a quiet kind of love. But it also means that when another man shows interest, Marge has to make that choice all over again. Whenever Marge gets close to crossing the line, it's not just a secret. The town feels it too, like how gossip spreads quickly at Moe's bar. It's not only about Marge, it's about what happens when the people who usually keep Springfield grounded start to waver. People notice, and some react, while others don't, but it changes things. The first person affected is, of course, Homer. You can say a lot about him. He forgets things, he's messy, and he still struggles to pronounce nuclear. But Homer does notice when Marge starts to drift emotionally. Sometimes he gets jealous, sometimes he suddenly becomes sweet, other times he just panics at the thought of losing her. The important thing is that these close calls often make Homer try harder, even if it's just for a short time. Take Jacques at the bowling alley. That moment didn't just tempt Marge, it's also making Homer realize that other people found her attractive, and that changed the way he saw her. For a show that usually focuses on jokes, that's a surprisingly real moment. Marge's almost affair wakes Homer up and reminds him not to take her for granted. Of course, because it's Homer, the change doesn't last forever. A week later, he might go back to falling asleep at work or forgetting important dates. But the pattern matters. These little moments of temptation shake things up. They force Homer to pay attention and put in a little more effort. In a strange way, these near affairs don't pull the marriage apart. They keep it alive. If Homer never felt that he could lose Marge, he might never change even in small, clumsy ways. The second effect hits Marge herself. Each time she's tempted, she's forced to think about what she really wants. Not just from Homer, but from her own life. When Jacques came along, it wasn't just about starting something new. It was about asking if she still had the freedom to imagine a different future. Later, storylines do the same thing. They make her wonder, what if she had made other choices? What if she wasn't always the responsible one? What if she had followed a different path? These questions never lead to cheating, but they do make Marge more interesting. They show that she's not just a background character or a typical cartoon mom. She's a person with thoughts, doubts, and dreams. The third effect spreads through all of Springfield because the town loves drama. Marge's near affairs don't usually stay secret. Sometimes the kids pick up on her mood, sometimes neighbors start talking, and sometimes it all comes out in public. Springfield runs on problems and gossip. So when people like Marge, who are usually calm and steady, starts to slip, it feels like a big shock. Imagine someone like Ned Flanders, who always tried to do the right thing, watching Marge act differently. Even something as small as a bowling lesson could seem like the start of something bad for him. On the other hand, Moe, who might enjoy the drama, especially if it makes Homer sad enough to drink more, everyone in town reacts to Marge's doubts in their own way, and it shows just how fragile everything is in Springfield. There's also something surprising about how the show lets Marge deal with these moments. In most shows, the wife just forgives, forgets, and keeps everything running smoothly. But The Simpsons gives Marge space to feel unsure, to think about what her life could be like. She never goes through with cheating, but she's allowed to imagine other choices. And the show doesn't always punish her for that. By the end of the episode, things usually go back to normal, but for those 20 minutes, the show lets us see Marge's struggle. That doesn't happen in most sitcoms. It's almost like the writers are saying that being married isn't something you decide once. It's something you choose again and again. And for Marge, that choice isn't always easy. Then there's us, the viewers. Watching Marge come close to cheating puts the audience in a tough spot. That's because she's not just any cartoon wife. She's the one who keeps things together when Homer is being wild or careless. She brings a sense of normal life to the craziness around her. So when she acts differently, it feels like something big is at risk. We're used to Homer messing up all the time, and it's often played for laughs. But when Marge makes a mistake, or almost does, it feels more serious. Not because it's worse, but because it doesn't fit what we expect from her. That's what makes these kind of stories so powerful. There's one more important part. These stories connect with real life. People in long relationships often go through similar feelings. Just because someone's married doesn't mean temptation disappears forever. What The Simpsons shows is a funny and exaggerated way of saying that being faithful isn't always about physical attention. Sometimes it's about feeling seen, valued, and cared for. Marge isn't tempted because she wants excitement. She's tempted because she wants someone to notice her, to pay attention. That's something many people understand. You might not have had a French bowling coach flirt with you, but you may have wondered if someone else would appreciate the parts of you that your partner seems to miss. That's what makes Marge's story feel real. We'd love to know what you think about Marge's infidelity. Thanks for watching and supporting our channel. Click the next video on your screen to dive into another exciting Simpsons story.